Hello.
Hello, Schalk, Bezuidenhout.
That's how they say
No,
it
we're supposed to
overseas.
Bluetooth, child.
Oh, sorry. I thought this is Bluetooth.
No, that's
The drinks.
direct.
Okay. But I mean, we drink from the other side, so it's fine. The Corona can be on that side from the glass.
How are you doing?
I had COVID, so I'm actually immune now. The scientists say I'm immune for the next 6 months at least. So
wait, is
I
that
actually
how it
only
works?
wear a mask now out of courtesy for other people. I just want a jawl now.
Are you going to get vaccinated?
Oh my word! Are you starting with the big questions?
It's not even a question.
Yes, but I'm gonna try and I want to stand at the back of the queue. I just want to see the people coming out.
I know you and your jerseys, and I tried. I was just like, I don't have something as edgy as your jerseys.
Is that the most knitted thing you have?
I had to buy the fabric.
I mean, your hair is pretty much a jersey in the
sauce.
making. It's like
So
it's like a deconstructed jersey. Yeah.
This is the roots before the flower.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're at Market Theatre. Do you have any stories with regards to the stage here? Because it's like an iconic theatre and it's got a lot of history.
I remember when I started comedy, I took out a DVD from the UCT library with, I think it was Loiso Gola, Trevor Noah, and they were performing on the stage.
Right,
Kagiso Lediga. And I remember thinking, I really want to perform on that stage. Didn't think my first time on the stage would be with no audience in a pandemic, but yeah.
So you still haven't done it until now?
No, yeah. Well, this is my first time on the stage.
welcome,
I'd love to be facing this way with an audience, but that will come after this interview, I'm sure.
So, do you know what you're drinking?
Yes, a Scottish leader with cherry, they said.
Child, you got it all wrong. So
lemon
for you,
slice.
we made you old fashioned with the twist. Mainly because it's like
What's
a
the
classic
twist?
drink. I mean, they say you're strong and good, like the drink. Are you strong?
Strong. Maybe a strong person, but I mean, that's pretty much where the strong begins and ends, yeah. I don't even know if I'm a strong person. I cry easily. Maybe that is what makes me a strong person.
Yes, because tears are strength.
Yes.
Right? That's crazy. What do you cry for? What's the most silliest thing you think you've cried for? Because you're just comfortable with crying.
The silliest thing, I don't know. I mean, I don't cry for silly stuff. I mean, maybe movies. That's quite silly to cry for a movie, I guess, because it's just fake, you know. After they shot that scene, they're probably like, people are probably gonna cry when they watch this, and then no, I don't think so. And then cut to me, the Labrador died.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, movies mostly. The other day we adopted another dog.
I saw.
And then it's hectic with 2 dogs. It just went to the next level. They play in the house, and we had to put away anything you don't want broken because they play and bump into things. And then I didn't plan to, but my fiance came and sat across from me. She's like, look, I don't know, it's quite hectic with 2 dogs. And she didn't even finish the sentence. I just burst out crying. I said, he's such a sweet boy. We're not giving him back. We're not giving him back. Yeah.
How does that feel, coming back with a dog from a job, child?
Yeah, I was emceeing that day.
Yeah.
I was supposed to get the dogs adopted by other people, and then I ended up going home with one. Yeah, but the dog he's such a sweet dog, but it's like, you know when you have a new friend, and they seem very nice, and then you go out drinking, and then they're a bit wild and crazy, and you're like, damn, okay. When we go to the park this morning, he jumped in the dam and he swam after 2 ducks, and I was like, it's fine, he's not going to catch the ducks.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just let him swim a bit, chase them a bit, and he'll come out after about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then people started gathering, and they realized there were 2 ducklings also there, and he's swimming after them. And this one time he started shouting there's babies! There's babies! And I was like, it's fine, he won't do anything. And I was 90% sure, but I'm like,
oh, because he is new.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I've never seen him bite anything, but I'm like, if he now bites a duckling, There's now witnesses. It's just gonna look very bad. I think I saw someone filming. I'm like, please, please. Eventually, this one Tanny, the same Tanny, was like, maybe you should just go get him. It's cold today. I was like, I think he'll come out by himself. She's like, well, he's not. It's been 15 minutes. And then I had to strip down to just my jogging shorts. And like, I swam to the middle of the dam, grabbed him, swam back, and pulled him with me. But I mean, look, he's like my problem child, but I love him. And yeah.
Did you say you were a
We
problem
just have
child?
to make it work. I wasn't a problem child, no.
You weren't. What? Like, how did you get there? Like, how did you get to like right now? I know I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to the comedian.
Yeah, I wasn't a problem child. Maybe a child with problems.
You just sang Senzenina.
And then, you know, but I mean, I do love to entertain and stuff. But I mean, it's also, you know, when you're in an Afrikaans school, the idea of like what a boy is quite like rough and tough, and you need to play rugby and stuff. So if you're the opposite of that, I mean, I did tap dancing because my mom took me to go watch Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance. They're in a tight sequin shirt.
Yes, child.
And I was like, yo, I want to do that, you know. And then I started tap dancing. I was doing like, I stayed third, you know, I was very eccentric as a child. And then I guess you do want to be like the class clown and stuff, because it's like a way of survival. Because if you can make people laugh, then maybe you don't always get like targeted so much, because they're like, no man, leave him alone, he's funny, he makes us laugh, you know. So it does become a survival method, but I would say it was half that and half, you know, it is my passion to make people laugh. There's no better feeling on earth for me.
Yeah.
So
that's dope.
Yeah.
I want to play a game with you.
Lekker, let's go.
So it's called Madness Method.
Okay.
And you pick a card, and then after that, you tell me what it evokes.
What does evoke mean? What I think of.
Evoke, yeah, what is it?
Okay. Bring out.
Yeah. First language, English, child.
Okay.
Pick a card, my best.
Okay. That was unfair. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of now? No, because we were like talking about school now.
Yeah.
You would always try and like copy what the cool kids were doing. There was this guy. He would always come back from holiday with all the newest brand name clothes, like Billabong, Quicksilver, you know. And then you would tell your parents, like, okay, and this is what I need now, because you know Johan. He's wearing Billabong. There's a 13th birthday party coming up this weekend. I can't go in wearing Mr. Price red. I'm not going to be a laughing stock. We need to go get Billabong. It shame my parents. I mean, like, we weren't rich, so they were like, okay, it's like one of the most expensive brands, but okay, you know, take me to the shop and then you get Billabong. They're like, okay, but this is your birthday, you know, it's January, but they're like, this is your birthday present, your Christmas present for the next 3 years. And then you think, okay, like I'm in with the crowd now because I'm wearing the uniform.
Yeah.
But then suddenly, you know, 2 weeks later, Johan now arrives at school wearing like Echo. And then you're like, you can't just change the game like that, Johan.
Entire budget.
You don't know, like I say, my mom's working 2 jobs to get the Billabong. Now you just come, oh, now Billabong's out. Now I'm like, I can't go return this. I always thought that was unfair, you know. I'm like, just stick to the, you know. I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one copying him as well, you know. So there's a lot of kids going like, oh man, now we have to. Now how do I tell my mom like we need to go get Echo? Okay.
I need you to pick another one.
Tell us your worst joke. Okay, fine. First, I wanna give credit to the comedian who told this joke. Before there was even like stand-up comedy in the country, it was like men sitting like this telling like old jokes, but they would like put their own spin on it. Like, and the most famous person who did it was Tola van der Merwe. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the joke. So it's this guy, Hans, who lives in Rustenburg, and he's got a friend, Frans Hanekom. Hans says to Frans, listen, I'm going to Britain for holiday. Frans says to him, listen, if you see Margaret Thatcher there, tell her Frans sends his regards. And Hans laughs, he's like, that's ridiculous. So he goes and he ends up one night at this fancy event, and there's Margaret Thatcher. He goes to her, he says, listen, it's going to be ridiculous, but I'm from a small dorpie. in South Africa called Rustenburg. I've got my friend Frans Hanekom. He said I must just say hi to you. She says, oh my word, Frans Hanekom, what a legend. Please send him all my love. And he's very confused. He's like, how does he know Margaret Thatcher? That's crazy. Then he goes to America for work, Hans. Frans says to him, listen, if you see Bill Clinton there, tell him I say hi. So he's at this conference and the guest speaker is Bill Clinton. He goes to him afterwards. He says, listen, you won't know this guy, okay? But I just said I would tell you. His name's Frans Hanekom from Rustenburg. Can't even finish his sentence. Bill Clinton's like, Frans Hanekom, oh my word. Get someone with a Polaroid camera. Says, take a selfie of us. Give it to Frans. Tell him I miss the old days, the way we used to party. Now, this Hans is really confused. He's like, how does Frans Hanekom, this guy from Rustenburg, know all these world leaders? Then, next holiday, Hans goes to Italy. This time he says to Frans, I'm taking you with me. They go to Italy, they're there at the Vatican, the Pope, oh my word, the Pope is making a speech. They're sitting in this massive crowd, the Pope is there, comes, everyone cheers, greets everyone, and the Pope sees Frans Hanekom, he stops the speech, he runs down the stairs, he pushes through the crowd, and he gets to Frans, and he hugs him and he kisses him on the cheek. And Hans is just standing there, he can't believe his eyes. And the guy next to him is a Dutch guy, and he says to him, who's the guy in the white gown hugging Frans Hanekom?
What?
Oh, you're a tonic. Thank you.
And the drink is kind of
Never been so happy to see a fool.
Oh, what?
I've never been so happy to see a fool.
A fool?
A fool, a bird.
Oh, I thought like a fool. I'm like a full glass.
No, a fool.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Pick another one.
Okay. Flip it. Pull a card for the host to answer. Yes! Okay, you ready?
Okay. I stay ready, child. Let's go. Who can't you relate to and why?
Who can't you relate to? That is such a hard question.
I know. I can't relate to people that don't use logic. I can't relate to people that don't use logic. Just because you haven't read about it or done whatever, it looks like, and therefore you could figure it out. Like, figure it out. I get frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, me too, but I'm working on that with my psychologist.
I see mine too. I see mine, and I still get frustrated. That part I'm not finna change. It's just me just...
I've been trying to not get so bothered by things and people, and it's exhausting.
What do you mean by that? Because I feel like you've got a license to literally do whatever and say whatever.
Yes and no. I mean, you can't be irresponsible with comedy. You can't just go on stage and go boss, you know. The basics apply.
Yeah.
I see it as like, don't be sexist, don't be racist, don't be homophobic. You know, all those, just like, be funny but still be a good person.
Yes.
Or you can be edgy without bringing other people down, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think it's just with social media, it's become like everyone is there and loud, and you know, and it bothers you, and you have to like sometimes really fight to not engage. And you know, even if it's nothing to do with you, someone just says something that is, in my opinion, idiotic. I'm sure I say a lot of that in other people's opinion is idiotic. You know, you don't always have to react.
You're gonna be tired.
I see that I don't agree with all the time, and never in my life I've gone in the comment section,
no,
I don't agree. If it bothers me that much, I would unfollow the person and go somewhere else. This whole trend of like saying exactly what you feel all of the time, that I can't relate to.
No, the thing about it is that social media, they've already got an opinion because you're in the space, all right? I'm not bothered by that, but I'm bothered by in my space where logic is a part of existence without you having read, because you're looking at it and you can figure it out. Think.
I want to get to a level where I'm paying people not to think. for me not to think. Let's not think
Who's
about
your
it.
Beyonce in comedy? Who's your Beyonce in comedy? So you
Yo.
don't think?
I think at the moment, Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trevor Noah has just done amazing things. Like, he inspires me so much to write all the time and to have new and fresh content all the time, because I haven't like toured with him, but
Yeah.
like I've opened for him in Cape Town and Joburg. And it's the same show, but the show was so different because he literally would write jokes that only work in Cape Town. Like Joburg people wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Like he had a joke about the Gachis in Cape Town yelling out the window. And he said to me, like, I can't do that joke in Joburg because the taxis in Joburg don't have Gachis.
True.
And he did a joke about city power in Joburg and it killed. And he's like, I can't really do that joke in Cape Town because Cape Townians don't relate
Yeah.
to like phoning the call center of city power. And I'm like, damn, this guy is writing jokes for specific cities. Then we'd be backstage and I'd say to him something about Amsterdam. Then he's like, oh, I have this great joke that I only do when I'm in Amsterdam. I'm like, yo, man, this guy's doing jokes for like specific groups of people.
Yeah.
He has jokes that he only does in Durban. He has jokes that he only does in Viacom, you know? So yes, he is a Beyonce for me. And I think Dave Chappelle is just like on another level now. And anyone who can disappear off the scene.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is a rumor, but that he was like in Durban this whole time because he has family in Durban. He was just chilling in Durban. Anyone who can disappear off the scene for 7 years and just come back and pick up where they left off. Like, I think
That's magic.
most artists, like, you come back, so much happens in 7 years. There's all this constantly new, exciting talent
Yeah.
on any scene, whether it's like music, comedy. If you disappear for 7 years, you're gonna come back. People are like, who are you again? Oh yeah, you're that guy. And he just came back and he was just like, boom, back at the top again.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's magic. Beyonce could disappear for 7 years and just come back.
She don't even advertise, child. It's just posted and it's out, and everybody's awake.
That is my dream, to not advertise shows or buy my album, or like if I had an album, to not, because that is like my worst thing, to like beg people on social media to come to a show, to be like, hey, everyone, and you always lie like 50% sold out. Meanwhile, you're not even on 10%.
I know.
You always do those kinds of tricks like, your tickets are flying, guys, make sure you get
Make sure
some.
you get to yours because you'll miss out.
You're gonna miss out. Then people there like buying at the door. Yo, man, this guy said we're gonna. This guy said we're gonna miss out.
Let's go.
Liar. My dad being Father Christmas for so many years, and then walking in on him, beard off, in his underpants, my grandma's house. Going, Dad, what did you do with Santa?
For
It's a
real?
traumatic experience in a child's life.
Tell me, break it down. How did it happen?
Well, I mean, he was Santa year after year. I mean, out of all the uncles and stuff, my dad was, I think, the most game to do it, and they make a big thing out of it, like they arrive on the back of a bakkie. It's like Afrikaans Christmas, like my uncle had like a red bakkie. So, we knew Santa's coming, all the parents, and you know what? That is like what's so beautiful about the naivety of a child, because never once when Santa was there, I went, Dad,
Where's my
look,
dad?"
Santa's here. Hey, where's Dad?
Yeah.
It was always just like, yay, Santa's
Santa.
here. You'd arrive on the bakkie, beep, beep, beep. I never questioned, why is Kori driving the bakkie? How does
For
he know?
Father Christmas,
How does he
yes.
know Santa? But he would arrive, and my dad would also. He have a. I don't know where they even hired the suit from. I mean, they must have gone and hired it every year. I don't think they just bought the Santa suit. But anyway, he had the full beard. My dad has naturally the stomach. So that goes. Red suit and everything, and then he would wear, for some reason, he would wear sunglasses. So he was like a cool Santa.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like a cool cat Santa, and he'd come, and then all the cousins, all the cousins and myself, we sit on his lap. I don't even think he changed his voice that much. He was just like, hello, gaan het, And And he's there for an hour. I mean, you're also not thinking like,
You're not worried about
don't
that.
you have the whole world to get to, like, kind of, now Santa's having a drink,
Chilling.
he's having a beer,
How's
he's
Santa?
chatting to my mother. I'm like, your Santa's got game. But it's so beautiful. You just believe, like, this is Santa. And then he goes again down the street. And then you're like, okay, well, there he goes to the other kids of the world.
And then your daddy comes back.
And then, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, we were at my grandma's house and I needed to pee, I think. And I went into my grandmother's room and I opened the door to use their toilet. And there's my dad, beard off, half Santa suit, in his underwear, like, you know, and I was like, I think he just like, if I just freeze, maybe he won't, you know, and then you put 2 and 2 together, just that moment. That's when you lose your innocence, that moment. Wait a minute, if you are there with a Santa, that means, wow. That's when I started drinking, Moonchild. I'm joking.
It's like,
That's when I had my first dope.
Child, let's play.
Oh, nee, why am I getting all the comedian stuff? A clown.
You're the chosen one for the dad.
People obviously see comedians kind of as clowns, you know. I guess it's also up to us to change that, and we don't always do ourselves any favors, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a comedian, Tatsin Konzo, who said this like really true thing once, is that we should, you know, like people always say to comedians like, yes, you guys talk cock on stage, eh? And then you go, yeah, I'm really good at it. You know, and he said, no, we must stop doing this. And comedians say themselves, like, you know, I'm so grateful because I talk shit on stage for a living, you know. And this friend of mine, Tats, he was like, we should stop saying that. He's like, we're not talking shit.
Yeah.
We're talking like truth and stuff we've worked really hard on. So like often we are our own worst enemy, you know, because we sometimes say ourselves like, yeah, I talk cock for a living. And it's like, no, he says always like, you don't. You speak art for a living, you know, and I love that because when I studied drama, you know, and I started doing stand-up, I always felt a bit like stand-up is like this bastard child almost of acting because the actors, you know, because I studied theatre and performance at UCT, you know, so you're doing Shakespeare and you're learning like the proper acting stuff, you know, and stand-up comedy was like, but do you play a character? What, you just yourself? That doesn't sound very hard. So, you know, it was always kind of looked down upon, I felt.
Yeah.
You know, so whenever I was like, go to my lecturers, like, can I go do a gig because it's this great opportunity, blah, blah, blah. It was like, you know, your studies come first. And I'm like, yo, but I'm getting an opportunity to actually start entering the professional world.
Before I leave here and then I have to start from scratch with no experience. Because they're going to be like, what's your experience? I just got out of school.
Yeah, and also, it's some money. You're like, yo, it's like 500 Rand and a burger for this gig. But, I mean, that was also the best feeling when you upgrade. Because, like, the beer and the burger was some... You know you're going to perform for free because you're an open spot.
You were going to perform anyway.
Yeah. And you're actually just grateful for the stage time.
In that time.
Yeah, in that
building,
time.
Right? Yeah.
And then the restaurant owner's like, hey, man, you're really funny tonight. Like, hey, let's give him a burger. And then you're like, what? Because I'm eating res food. I'm eating...
noodles.
Like, yeah, mac and cheese that's prepared in like a big... like 500...
A buffet for one.
That 500 people are going... you know, that you just put on tomato sauce just to give it some flavor, you know. And you're like, yo, you sure? Like, and then like, yo, man, you want a beer as well? A beer as well? And then that first time you get an envelope with 500 Rand in it, it's like, so lekker.
We got one more card before we do a full story time.
Okay.
Ready? You good with the drink over there? Choose another one.
Traveling. Traveling. When last? You know, can I say, like, I'm becoming such an old man because before the pandemic, I used to literally be on the road, the more the better, like living out of a suitcase, but like also loving it. But
Yeah.
it does get, the older you become, it does get tired. You know, you do get tired. Now the pandemic has made me such an old man because now I've become so comfortable in my home. Like, and we moved. We got the place now with the fireplace. That's a game changer. Making a fire in winter is sitting next to that fire with my dog lying in front of the fire. He loves the
And the
fire.
one you got at the job?
Yes.
Same thing, you baby.
The job dog. He's next to me on the floor. Glass of red wine, fire, and fiance there far on the couch.
And
you know,
staying away from your camera.
It's not very clingy. Not very clingy. And like watching bad reality TV. I've become, I love it so much. Now, you know, if I have a gig that's away from home, you have to sleep over, I'm a bit like, but I'm keen to start traveling again, going overseas, performing overseas. And
As in, like, you've got a plan, or it's just like something you speak about?
no, I don't really have a plan. I've never really had a plan for my career because, I mean, I don't want to say you can't have a plan, but like, how can you really? Because a lot of the big opportunities you get were so like, right place, right time. You didn't plan it, you know. And eventually I realized, like, my plan is just to work as hard as possible and be as funny as possible and try and kill it as much as I can. And then,
what comes.
that is the plan. And then the plan will develop
Yeah.
from there. I can't say like my plan is to host the Daily Show in 5 years, and like what? Like I'm emailing the Daily Show like, hey,
You can.
what's your plan with?
But you can, Schalk. Even if it's not 5 years, it's still the letter to the universe saying, this is what I do want to. And because Trevor, who is my Beyonce, I'm aware of the fact that I can do it too. So but you can. So you can.
Wow, Moonchild, you're blowing my mind right now.
I mean, I'm good at blowing, they say. I mean,
Minds.
up.
blowing minds, baby.
Before we do the final three,
Okay.
I want to find out what was your favorite country you've ever performed at, and what was different? Which country opened up your mind and made you feel like?
I think Edinburgh and also London. That was my first time performing like overseas properly. And you know, you start with basically expats coming to the show. It's like all South Africans, and there's the odd Brit here and there because it's like a South African married to a British person and they bring them to the show and whatever. And then the more you perform and the more you go back, the less the South Africans become. Not that you want them to become less, it's always great to have the South Africans come, but the more like overseas people are there because they're like, oh, we saw you at that comedy club in London, and then we followed you on Instagram and we saw you doing your one-man show at the theatre. And that's like a really dope feeling. And then Edinburgh eventually, when you're making like the world laugh, because it's one thing to make South Africans laugh, and you know, because it's all in the context of South Africa, but it's like the next step to make two girls from Spain who have no context of South Africa and what's going on here, to make them laugh, you know, and having people come up to you and they're like from Portugal, whatever, countries all over the world, and they're like, wow, this is one of my favorite shows I saw, you know, at the festival so far. Like, that's like an incredible feeling, you know, because a friend of mine always says, like, you want to be a comedian from South Africa, not a South African comedian. But I remember the first time I did a comedy club in London. I bombed, and I couldn't understand why, because I was doing like my best material. But the whole time I felt the audience were very stiff. It felt like they wanted to laugh, but they were so uncomfortable, and I couldn't understand what I was doing to make them feel uncomfortable. And then I spoke to this British comedian that lives in South Africa, and he says, because he's like, you have to break the ice at the beginning more. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because you are Afrikaans, so people overseas will assume that you're racist. And then I was like, that makes so much sense. The whole time,
you didn't understand.
They were waiting for me to make a racist joke. So they were like this the whole time, going like, please don't say something racist, please don't say something racist. Because that's what they expect from like a white Afrikaans guy from South Africa, because that is what you get taught in school. That's the history books. Afrikaans people, apartheid, racist. And I was like, that is so interesting, you know. And then I wrote a joke that, like, within the first few seconds of being on stage, I can't even remember the joke, but basically came down to like, you can relax, I'm not racist. And then suddenly I started doing well in the clubs because as soon as I said that, it's like the whole audience goes, oh, okay, we don't have to stress. He's not going to make like an awkward racist joke, you know? And then like everyone's just immediately relaxed, you know? And that like really opened my eyes to like, you perceive something here and you go to another country and people just have a completely different idea. I guess we also have ideas
also because of history, just because you're a white person from SA and I'm a black person from SA, and because I'm black, I'm supposed to talk about giraffes and animals. You're supposed to talk about racism. But then I guess it's an opportunity to be like, well, child, yes, we do roll in giraffes.
I know. It's like, you know, it's something that Luisa Gola once told me, like when I started performing overseas, you know, so you obviously have to do material that's relatable to everyone in the world. So like generic stuff like relationships, sex, what's up with
the web,
whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And you then have to talk about all these like kind of standard generic topics because you can't go too South African because then they won't get you. And he was saying the opposite. He was like, no, you have to talk about South Africa because that's what sets you apart. You're telling them where you're from. He's like, you don't go overseas. If you're overseas and you see a comedian, and like a good friend, and Lois was also friends with him, Ari, he's a comedian from Iceland. So that's like, not every day that you see a comedian from Iceland. Now imagine you go watch a comedian from Iceland because you see the post and you're like, wow, that's interesting, it's a comedian from Iceland. And he doesn't talk about Iceland even once in the show. You're going to be disappointed because you're like, I wanted to hear about you and who you are and where you come from.
So now you're going to choose 3 cards, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to tell me a full, whatever they evoke, full story.
Okay, I'm going to just go with his middle 3.
Are you for real? It's the first time someone chooses like that, chap.
Describe yourself in charades. Smudge. It was my idea first. My idea first, and describe yourself in charades. I want to just do this, you know, because I always, and this even is like a pattern that you would see on a jersey. Because can I just say, I was wearing these jerseys before the hipsters in Cape Town started wearing them. And now you can't find these jerseys in Cape Town anymore because they've been bought.
You bought them all.
No, not me. The hipsters went and bought them all.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I always get like people messaging me on Instagram saying like, oh, yeah, I love your jerseys. Where can I buy them? And I'm like, you can't anymore because it became a trend. But I was wearing them when they were still ugly.
Yes.
I was wearing them when people were like, are you joking? You know how many people tell me like, but this is your stage clothes.
Like for real.
And then I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, I mean, you don't wear it. Like, just wear it. I'm like, I started wearing these before I started comedy. And then I started comedy and then I continued to wear it on stage because it was my clothes. And then they're like, people always think I just wear a jersey like when I'm appearing in public or on stage or whatever. I'm like, no, I wear it because I'm cold. It's not a look, it's for warmth. But this is...
Your consistency makes it a look.
Yes, but you know, that people think it's like a character almost like...
I know, they say that all the time. I'm like, Google me 12 years ago, child. I had this, I happened to be famous because I was being myself. And it's like, that's what I was saying to you off camera. I'm just like, how funny is it that you don't necessarily paying attention to it being part of your branding, but who you are automatically translates in when people know you. And I know you for jerseys, and I know how to say your name because you also have a signature, and then you're funny. But even if I didn't know what you did, the jersey guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you questioned my existence initially, and now you're copying my existence.
Oh! Moonchild, you must write a book.
I've got volumes, honey.
You must write a motivational book.
No,
I'm
I
motivated.
was taking with you. I was taking for you because I could relate to what you're talking about.
Wow. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. It's so late. You're
Cheers.
so late.
Bluetooth cheers.
Bluetooth chai.
go.